Have you ever heard the term "a rising tide floats all boats"? Well, we would suggest that higher consciousness raises all of humanity. So that is one way to look at the boats on the left, in the left picture here. There are also what might be termed tides of tribal consensus consciousness, unconsciousness, primal drives, seeking safety, security, that blindly feed on our planet. And if you were to, and if we saw in this picture on the left, instead of as floating consciousness or raising consciousness as a pool of oil, fossil fuel oil, the boats would float on it if it was oil, and that would not be great for the world. And that's kind of what we've done, is we've floated our boats globally on fossil fuels. We've electricity, computers, etc., are all generated or nuclear power. Now we're going green, thank heaven, with solar panels, etc., and wind power. And that said, still we're far from the necessary attainments in that regard. So in this process of conversation, in this process of Friday meetings, Thursday meetings, your weekly meetings, we drain, if we see this as oil, we drain, and subconscious, unconscious, tribal dynamics of ego, self-preservation, special interest, competition, limiting beliefs, and victim, perpetrator, rescuer dynamics, hatred. If we drain all that away, then we get in our conversations here online more of this picture to the right, meaning that all the boats are sitting on dry land, so to speak, because the tide in the midst of these conversations, hopefully the tide of ego, the tide of tribe, the tide of hatred, all of those non-optimal training wheels that have served us in the way they have served us in the past flow outward. And for the time that we're online here, we can kind of see things more as they are consciously. When we leave this conversation, we will then re-engage with the rest of the world. We'll go back to our families, we'll go back to our friends, and we'll go back to our work environments. And those environments may operate from the pool of oil paradigm that we would describe on the left. So how do we retain the quality of consciousness that we attain in these conversations in this well-supported, collaborative, and aligned and resonant environment within those competing environments and social tribal dynamics that are so traditional, so unconscious, so fear-based, so in the wallpaper, so habitual, so that have so much momentum and inertia? How do we ground ourselves and stay grounded in consciousness, grounding the light of consciousness in every dimension of our being, constantly and forever, as we move out from these meetings and participate in the world? And how do we not get caught up in the tides of fear, the tides of misinformation, the tides of social media influence, the tides of the fearful statements about what's occurring in political systems or international interaction or the economic system or the COVID world or the concerns and fears about climate change and competitive dynamics that have generated so much of that in our world? Fearless service, fearless consciousness, fearless unconditional love, surrender to the light, surrender to the process of God in our world, and also recognition of your co-creative power, the goodness of you as a soul in this world. You're here for a reason. You're here to, whatever your unique, sovereign, independent soul process is, you chose to be here. You need to be here. You've got some piece of the puzzle that the world needs. We want to help you deliver that piece of the puzzle, however you choose for that to look, or in what timing, what cadence you prefer. And we want to support that. We also want to get out of the way of your process of contribution. We want to nurture and nourish, and we also don't want to impede. We don't want to distort. We don't want to limit. So those are our intentions as an organization. These are just some metaphors to contemplate. The high-level view of the social movement engine. We demonstrate it as a hierarchical, a stacked infrastructure design. We want to see it as a cycling three-element system, meaning a social at level one or phase one, a social media platform with a support for comprehensive collaboration by any group on any scale in any country, any group of nations working together, any group of institutions, any group of universities, any group of for-profit or not-for-profit efforts, any social movements that Black Lives Matter, women's empowerment, whatever social movements people want to have funded, fostered, supported, evolved, nurtured in any way that we can in order that they get their message out, they get their voices heard. And level one is a voting platform also for people, like we said, to contribute anything and everything they have as to their preferences, their beliefs, their understandings of what's necessary for the world to become a better place, how their vote for what they want the world to be for their children and their children's children. Level two is a solutions and generation level, data collection and synthesis, a collaboration environment, again, for any group of entities, access to all necessary tools so that they can work together efficiently and effectively. This is artificial intelligence supported, all of these levels. And WSS or other facilitators to ensure that there's a collaborative model of constantly evolving conscious collaboration that anyone on the platform operates from so they can operate in concert. Our hope and our vision is that we as a human species can move similar to a, what is the word, murmuration? The way birds move as a flock and wheel and move elegantly without bumping into each other in the air. And they can turn on a dime instantly, all of them flowing like a river. Murmuration. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. And that process of collective capacity, proprioceptive capacity, meaning a human system, you can feel yourself in time and space in reference to other human beings. You can feel where your hand is in relation to your face, where your arms and your legs are. That sensory capacity that evolves, that is a quality of collective consciousness or Gestalt consciousness, we hope that humanity will evolve into via all of the technologies, all of the conscious collaboration, facilitation, and transformation education, and also via conscious intention for that to be so that we can work together constructively and generate a better world together and not compete or battle each other, remain in conflict, remain in misunderstanding, remain in vilification and judgment or dynamics of victim, perpetrator, rescuer in between individuals, groups, nations, or organizations, and to transcend competition as our prior tribal paradigm, which if we're busy competing with each other and focused on that to make money or profit or power or status, we're not taking care of the world and we're not caring about each other because we're so distracted by our process of competition. And it's so endemic and so subconscious, we don't even know we're doing it. So we would suggest that these prior tribalized dynamics must be dissolved, resolved, transmuted, transformed into consciousness. And lastly, level 3 is solutions delivery and a facilitated process, of course, solutions implementation, monitoring, managing, etc. And this structure would be informed by databases all over the world, offered information from any and all nations and organizations and universities and educational facilities. And it is a constantly cycling kind of vortex evolutionary model. It's always reinforming, it's always re-educating itself. Another way to look at this is if you've ever seen a bucket of water where a drop of water fell into the bucket of water and the ripples rippled out to the edge of the bucket and then they roll back into the center. If this is where the drops of water are reaching the pool of water, and the information as an educational system goes out in a synchronized way, in a standard way, in a vetted way, in a wholesome, healthy, comprehensive way, and the world has a synchronizing mechanism of evolving consciousness, understanding, standardized education, standardized reference for decision making, strategizing, and for making wise, discerning decisions in every venue or dimension of life as we evolve and transform as a species. And then all of that information, those understandings flow back to the center to be synthesized and integrated and learned from. So everyone is contributing to this all the time. And this synthesizing point of integration is always contributing to the human process globally. And so everyone evolves it, and it evolves everyone reflectively.